Hi there, it's the great and glorious, seem to be famous one day, Nick Dash, back on the camera again one more time. Hi there, how the heck's it going? Got another question today, and this one is about thought forms which are being created and or might already exist somewhere in the astral world. Do they exist? Can you control them? How do you create them? That sort of thing. Well, essentially, isn't that what all forms of religious activity is about? I mean, all forms of religious activity. There's especially those which are idol orientated or image or character orientated, such as the image and character and personality of Odin or an angel or all the rest of that. And servitor creation is just the same but on a much smaller scale. I mean, it's not just like one big thing that thousands of minds or millions of minds believe in. It's something which, just you personally believe exists. So do people do that, or do people think like that? Bottom line, yes. And do these things have some kind of objective reality? No, we cannot say either way. This is the main current thought of my video blogging over 3 whole years, okay? We can't actually say in any concrete manner whether any form of spiritual entity or force has some kind of objective reality, but we can have these strange experiences whereby they appear to occur. If you go back to my very earlier videos, or go to my channel page and use the search facility and type in the word demonology and see what comes up, and try and find some which are more ceremony orientated and all the rest of that, that will give you an idea of what the creation of a servitor was possibly like in the medieval era, based upon the fiction, because it was probably fiction, of the Lesser Key of Solomon. Okay? Because it's all the same stuff, whether it's going through the writings of Peter J. Carroll, Libanol and Psychonaut, or whether it's in the Lesser Key of Solomon. It's all about using religiosity, or that sense of gnosis. I spent a lot of time trying to work out what that state of mind of gnosis was that the occultist talked about, and I came to the conclusion that it was just that state of mind of being religious. Alright, so when you're in that kind of like calm, tranquil, I mean not that kind of, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, that kind of like extreme Pentecostalist state of mind. I think that's complete insanity, to be quite honest. But if it's something a little more tranquil, meditative, contemplative, and you can insert beliefs and ideas into there which are part of some kind of bigger train of thought, then basically that can be much more necessary, your sort of thing in terms of trying to do something that might possibly have the result of creating some of these strange experiences that I talk about all the time. I mean, the way that I see things is that strange stuff just happens once in a while, and it's altered states of consciousness of various different types, which seems to have some kind of an effect in generating those strange experiences. So if you can learn how to generate strange states of mind through meditation type activities, or becoming a practitioner of mantra type based yoga, then essentially you're probably going to come closer to it. That's essentially my thoughts on the matter. Can they have an effect upon the outside world? Occasionally these dramatic similarities between what you're working for and happenings in the outside world do appear to occur. But is there a direct causal connection? I don't know whether we can say that there is or not. I would say that it's more practical just to do your exercise and then to see whether anything happens. And even if something does happen, you don't need to invest belief that your activity did it. If you get my drift, you need to have a certain quantity of skepticism, otherwise you will basically go insane and you'll start believing anything that anyone tells you. And I think that it's more worthwhile being a little more objective rather than just totally subjective and thinking, oh, I did it, I'm the one who can control the entire universe. This is why I hate the phrase "it works," because it's bloody stupid. I had another person sending a private message to us talking about some of the great occultists, the well-written, well-known occultists, and the fact that they spend like lots of time in prison, or they died of diseases that they themselves could not cure, despite the fact that they made claims that what they did worked. If what they do works for them, then why didn't it work for them? Because they haven't accepted the idea that this is all just an experiential, experimental, personal art form. And nothing that you do where, within your occult circle or working space, whatever you want to call it, is anything else apart from experiential and experimental. This is why the phrase "it works" in any combination of phrases is a complete blasphemy against reason and thought, and it is more a statement of some form of literalist belief that some individual has, and that in its own right is in fact bloody stupid, in my opinion. I mean, there's lots of other people who are New Age orientated who would strongly disagree with me, but the phrase "it works," or "it works for me," or "it works for them," or "it cannot be transferred," or "it is not transferable," is not corroborated by a lot of historical happenings. So, taking that into account, should anybody ever use the phrase "it works" if they are a spiritualist or an occultist or a medium? No, they should not. A person can claim anything, but it's wrong for them to use their claims as if they were a statement of hard and fast objective facts. There's a strong difference between belief and knowledge. Alright? And even religious knowledge is only a personal experience, and it is not a hard and fast fact. I know I'm going dramatically against the current of a lot of New Age thought, but I'm someone who thinks. And as a result of that, I'm not going to be someone who just sits on his arse and believes stuff just because he's had a strange experience. Okay, so you can see a ghost, fine. Okay, so you had an experience which was strange, which cannot by any form of reasoning prove that that was a conscious entity or not. You can't do it. It is hypothetically possible that there is only one group mind and we are only tiny little brain cells in the head of God, so to speak, figuratively speaking. And one could possibly argue that on the basis of telepathic experiences, or the occasional remote viewing experience which occurs. But I don't think that you can then turn around and say, I am the great and powerful magician or whatever, and I can control the universe. Because people who do that, in my humble estimation, are in fact rather deluded, and they haven't stopped to think that this is just a strange experience, and that's all we can really say about it. Alright? Those are my thoughts, this is my blog, and my thoughts come out on my blog. And if you don't like them, that has to be your problem. But maybe there's something in what I've said which can be there to challenge the views of either the extremist devout believers or indeed those who are the ardent skeptics. Because it's the perspective that you take when you're approaching anything which essentially is what allows you to see things in perspective or not. And a lot of the New Age perspectives out there are not good enough, because they're all dominated by beliefs. Okay? If you want to be religious, fine. But you can't morally or intellectually turn around to someone and tell them that the things that you personally believe have some kind of objective reality and are facts. Okay? In my opinion, it's morally and intellectually reprehensible.